I want to give a huge thanks to PTCGO Store for sponsoring the channel. PTCGO Store is an awesome website where you can get PTCGO codes from the newest sets and promo items for the best prices. Be sure to click the link in my description or use code CHIP5 at checkout for 5% off your order. Again, that is code CHIP5 to get 5% off your total order. What's going on, guys? Chip here. Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG online video where today I am back home from Dallas Regionals. I had such a great time. If you didn't get to catch any of the stream, I did have the opportunity to commentate at the tournament, which was absolutely a blast. I'm super thankful for the Pokemon Company for bringing me out there. I'm glad I had the opportunity to do it, and I am hopeful for more opportunities like it in the future. It was so fun, and one of the reasons it was so fun is because of some of the matches we got to commentate over the course of the weekend. One of those, of course, that I was on was Hunter Butler's Garchomp and Giratina deck, which he did inevitably end up winning the whole tournament with. Super cool to see. And if you guys watch the stream, you know kind of what this deck is, but I'm going to go through and explain things. But it is super fast, super consistent, and very aggressive, able to take big one-hit KOs very, very quickly in the game. Being able to power this guy up with the Tapu Koko Prism Star as quickly as turn 1. And, of course, spreading damage here with the Weezing's Blow-Away Bomb to prop that extra damage that we get from Calamitous Slash. So, congrats to Hunter, of course, on winning the tournament. Hunter is a buddy of mine. I was super excited to see him get a victory. He worked on the deck mostly with Frank Persick, it seems. Frank also finished very well, I believe, in the top 32, maybe top 16. But it seems like there was a good, solid group of players that played this deck, and all of them, it seems like, did really well. So it definitely seems like a very good play for the event, probably the best play for the tournament, and as it turns out, that would make sense since it did end up winning. But congrats to Hunter once again. I was excited to see him win. And let's go ahead and just hop into this, talk about this deck, and talk about what makes it work. So, we're going to start by looking at the Garchomp and Giratina-GX itself. 270 HP, Dragon-type tag team Pokemon with linear attack for a colorless. It does 40 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Calamitous Slash, doing 160 if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it. This attack does 80 more damage, so that puts it to 240 if there's already damage in place. And that's where the Blow-Away Bomb ability from Weezing here comes into play. Once during your turn, when you discard this Pokemon with the effect of Roxie, you may put 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon. So it lets us spread that damage, and if we do discard 2 Weezings, we can place 2 damage counters. So just getting that 1 damage placement with the Weezing can allow us to pick up KOs with Calamitous Slash, effectively letting us do 240. There's already 10 damage, so 250 kind of cumulative damage in play. And with Choice Band, that actually comes up to 280 damage, which will knock out things like Arceus Dialga Palkia. Even if we were to go up against an opposing Naganadel and Guzzlord by chance, it would get the knockout on something like that. So it lets us get knockouts on those tag team Pokemon. If there's the extra, the 2 damage from 2 Weezing abilities getting used, we can knock out a Gardevoir and Sylveon in 1 hit, or if we have 1 Weezing plus a Fighting Fury Belt. There's just a lot of really good math that we can create, and you can do this very quickly. As you'll notice, Calamitous Slash does require 3 energies, a Psychic, a Fighting, and a Colorless. So for the Colorless, Hunter and Frank decided to throw in a Tapu Koko Prism Star package, utilizing Battle Compressor to discard energies, and of course playing 3 basic lightning energies. So the idea is that on the first turn, you have the ability to hit for these massive numbers, taking 1-hit KOs on opposing tag teams. And if you can take, just a couple of prizes with Garchomp and Giratina, if you can take 4 prizes with this, you can close out games potentially with Chaotic Order GX. Turn all of your prize cards face up if this Pokemon has at least 1 extra Psychic energy and 1 extra Dark energy attached to it. In addition to this attack's cost, take 2 prize cards. So the colorless, of course, being that lightning energy, and then the dark and the psychic coming from double dragon energy. It's really interesting to me as well that Roxie Chomp is doing so well in the standard format, and then Hunter and Frank were able to adapt it here in expanded. Another interesting line in here, we've got the Noivern-GX Distort, definitely a solid attack option at certain times. And then Sonic Volume can actually lock certain decks out of the game if we can get this moving before an Ultra Necrozma was able to get an energy down. Or if we're knocking out the only energy in play, they're going to need to play something like Pokemon Ranger in their list to even have a chance to combat this. And if they don't, we will actually just be able to lock them out of the game at that point, since there are so many decks that actually just totally rely on special energy. Another example of that could be the Mewtwo and Mew tag team matchup. If they don't play Pokemon Ranger, Sonic Volume just kind of can close it out for us. So here's the gist of the list. I don't want to spend too much time going over it because I think if you watched the stream, you definitely kind of saw how it functions. Only 2 Roxie in the list. I was actually kind of surprised when the list came out, or when we saw it on commentary in the backstage, at his really thin supporter counts, which I guess makes sense. In Standard, we're used to seeing, like, 4 Roxie, 4 greens, all that kind of stuff, but you really don't need that as much thanks to Battle Compressor and VS Seeker as well. You get more uses out of your supporter cards, potentially, and this deck's kind of idea is to win the game relatively quickly. I'm sure Hunter had many games that ended in the first couple of turns where he was just able to take 2 quick tag team knockouts with Calamitous Slash and the game's over, or 2 regular GX knockouts and then finish things off with a Chaotic Order. Even taking knockouts with Jet Pierce, also something we don't want to forget, and also Violent Appetite, an ability we can utilize thanks to Execcute's Propagation, which is also one of the key cards in the deck, fueling really just about everything, letting us Ultra Ball for free, Great Catcher for free, Treasure for free, all of those types of things. Another inclusion here, the Comfey with Flower Shield, making it so that we cannot be affected by special conditions, so that'll be useful against something like Shock Lock if we were to go up against that before they get down there, Alolan Muck, and then also against any Turbo Darkrai deck Turbo Dark deck. I guess they don't really use Darkrai quite as much, since Double Dragon Energy does provide a Fairy Energy. The Flower Shield does protect the Garchomp Giratina. So we're gonna hop over to the ladder. We're gonna grab a couple of games and see if we can come away with it. A good little 7-minute explanation there. So hopefully you guys kind of get the gist of it. Once again, can't say congratulations enough to Hunter. Was very excited to see him win. He deserves it, and I hope he finds more success moving on this season. Also, always want to take a second to shout out PTCGO Store for helping us out. I know you guys saw the little blurb at the start of the video, but it really does mean a lot to me that they choose to support the channel. Definitely make sure you click the link in the description. If you're buying PTCGO codes, use code CHIP5 at checkout in order to get 5% off your order. Not a great start. Actually, well, it's really not great. We have an Exeggcute in the opening spot, but we're going to be able to Ultra Ball away Sycamore plus Egg, go get a Giratina Garchomp, throw down that Double Dragon Energy, and we could take a turn 1 knockout pretty quickly, to be honest. And so, yeah, honestly, not too terribly upset about it. We have a Field Blower option as well, depending on what they get. And it looks like it's going to be like a Zoroark counter box deck. So we'll want to be mindful of something like a Mimikyu, the Fairy-type Mimikyu from Lost Thunder, I believe. That could definitely be a factor here. It is going to just be a Tapu Lele. Most of the time in these Zoroark matchups, you're going to see that. Go grab a Bridget right away. Counter Energy comes down onto Shaymin. Definitely an interesting inclusion here. Letting you hit for Grass weakness with the Rally Back if something gets knocked out. Also, Flippity Flap, one of the best names in the whole game for an attack. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6 cards. They do get down a Skyfield, which is actually pretty solid for us, since there's this Chaotic Swell in our hand. And they're just going to go for the in turn 1. You hate to see it. Our hand was workable. I hate starting the Exeggcute, but other than that, our hand was definitely solid. We could have taken a knockout on this Lele, potentially with a Giratina Ping, but we get a pretty workable hand regardless off of this, so I can't complain too much. And we'll see what the compressor gets down. Got to think at least one Exeggcute, maybe 2 if they do play 2. Most Zoroarks these days are playing 2, and a Colress hits the discard as well. So we could take a knockout on this Tapu Lele. They are down 1 counter energy, so if they do play the Mimikyu, that is 1 less out in order to get that return KO. And I really think if we just like go aggressive and are able to knock out the Lele this turn, it's gonna be a little daunting for our opponent to find all those pieces. It would be pretty tough for them to find all those pieces, I guess I should say. But it could happen. It definitely could be the case. Yeah, we're just gonna get rid of Sycamore, then we'll Ultra Ball away Field Blower via Seeker. If we had top decked something playable, we obviously would have been able to get rid of Exeggcute. We could even get Shaymin to set up here, but I think I'm kind of fine. Well, actually, maybe we should have played... actually, thinking about it, maybe if we played Trainers Mail, see if we hit a treasure there, we could get Shaymin with this, and we could set up for 6. But kind of how we've played this, I think we're just going to have to get the Giratina and Garchomp. We do need to find another compressor. We got to get some lightning energies down if we want. We need a lot of pieces if we want to take this knockout here. Okay, we get Float Stone. That's one of the pieces. So that actually ends up working out for us pretty well. And we'll just go ahead with the Professor Sycamore. And we do get Great Catcher, not much else, unfortunately. So it looks like it will just be a linear attack here. I'm trying to think if there's any reason for us to really get anything else. We could just... What do we linear attack, I guess, is kind of the question here. We could go get down the Mimikyu and then linear attack the Zorua, so he can't trade if he gets his Zoroark out. I kind of like that. The Mimikyu is definitely really solid for this deck. For this matchup as well, I should say. We may just have to end on the next turn, but we're kind of set up to a position where next turn we can just take the knockout on this Lele. And I think considering that, we will just linear attack. I guess we... maybe I should have propped the Giratina and pinged both of these. Because then I could just linear attack the active, because we only need the 1 damage counter on Zorua in order to knock it out. I guess what this could theoretically do is if we top deck the Weezing, we could Roxie to knock out the Zorua if he doesn't evolve it after Giratina, and they're just going to go ahead and concede because Mimikyu's Shadow Box really does do so much work against these Zoroark decks. They have such a tough time with that because the deck is so reliant on trade, and if you can just take that away from them... We saw it in their top 4 match. It did end up going to a 3-game set. John Ng played really well in that second game in order to pull it back after it looked like he was in a pretty bad spot. But this deck does play a lot of item cards, so Trash Avalanche certainly a threat. Raonito here playing a Fighting Water Colorless Psychic. I believe those were the types I just saw. So we'll see what they've got going on. It looks like a fighting type deck mainly based on the, fighting deck box and sleeves and fighting coin. But I've also been kind of bamboozled by this setup before where someone's got all of one specific type and then they're playing like a psychic deck or something like that with a tech 1 of fighting Pokemon. So you never know what could happen on the PTCGO ladder. Looks like we are going to have to start Exeggcute. You hate to see it. 2 games in a row. And it looks like it is just going to be a Buzzwole deck. Once again, we can theoretically get a turn 1 knockout here since we are going second. That would be pretty big for us. We weren't quite able to pull it off in that first game. I think if I had sequenced that first turn a little better, we definitely could have pulled off that Gust on the Tapu Lele. So, oh, they're getting down a Rockruff here. Ooh, they're playing this one as opposed to the corner Rockruff. Gonna just bring a Fighting Energy here and pass it over to us. Okay, there is a pretty good top deck in the Garchomp and Giratina. So I think that Great Catcher's not going to be super good here necessarily. We can Ultra Ball away these 2 things. Of course, Silent Lab is in play. What would we even get? We get down the Tapu Koko Prism Star. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, actually. I think I like this. Go ahead and get down the Tapu Koko Prism Star. We just get rid of the N, and I think Great Catcher here. It's probably the new Lycanroc if I had to guess. No, that's not necessarily a fair assumption. We'll keep this just in case, I think. We'll be mindful of our bench here. And we do have the Koko, which is good. So we're going to need to find a Field Blower, Battle Compressor, Float Stone off of these 6 cards. Unfortunately, N also our only real option here on this turn since they didn't do too much. But we definitely need to play a supporter here. Try to draw as many cards as possible. And let's see what kind of combos we could potentially pull off. We do get to Dedenne. If we can find a Stadium or a Field Blower here on the mail. Oh, well, there we go. There is the Stadium, and that's actually a pretty good Stadium to be able to get since it effectively gets rid of 2 of their Stadiums. So we do have the Float Stone. Now here, all we are looking for is going to be that Battle Compressor or an Ultra Ball with a Lightning Energy or a Treasure with a Lightning Energy, but unfortunately, it looks like we did not quite get there. So, linear attack damage. Probably best on the Rockruff, especially if it becomes a Lycanroc. Gives us the most options. We actually could have put down, if it is Lycanroc GX, we could have put down Shadow Box so that I believe that would shut off the Bloodthirsty Eyes. I don't really see why it wouldn't, because it is a Pokemon GX. Yeah, so it would shut it off. So, okay, here comes a Tapu Lele. Potentially their own Silent Lab could have really messed them up there, but we did counter it for them, so Wonder Tag comes out. I need to get myself some of these Leles online. Definitely like this artwork. Gonna just grab a Karina, so we'll get maybe a little bit more of an idea about the contents of their deck. Whenever you're going against one of these fighting decks, it's always kind of scary because it really could just... There's been so many good fighting Pokemon over the years in the expanded format since 2011 that you really don't know what you might be going up against. It could be the new Lycanroc, like I said, that allows it like attacks much more cheaply if you have a GX in play or a special energy or something like that. Of course, Buzzwole GX has been a big one, but even farther back, things like, you know, Terrakion, I think, is something I saw this weekend in a Zork counterbox deck. Sudowoodo from Breakpoint. There's all these different options that people have for these types of decks. So, Ultra Ball on their side. I wonder if they're playing like Octillery, something like that. There's a Brooklet Hill getting discarded. Looks like a Guzma as well. So maybe we'll see them bring down a Remoraid here. Hey Pepper, what's wrong, girl? What's up? Whenever I walked in the door today, getting back from my flight, Pepper was so excited to see me, and it was the best. Okay, here comes a Jet Punch. Oh, they're just going to take the prize on Exeggcute. Most likely here. Yep, get a free prize. It makes sense, makes sense. You hate to see it, but we do have Roxie plus a treasure in hand, which means we can pull off the big combo play of Roxie plus Weezing. So let's go ahead and do that. Discard the Exeggcute here. And we only need to discard one. We actually prize the other one, but we really only need to discard one here because we just need this one counter. Getting a second one actually here to knock out Rockruff would be pretty cool. But we'll just propagate the egg and go with this strategy. If we do discard the Giratina, that could be a way as well. For us to get that extra counter, taking this knockout would be pretty cool. There's the Giratina. We can get rid of it with the Ultra Ball or Treasure in our, or excuse me, Computer Search in our hand. I think I'm, I really wouldn't mind attaching a Lightning here. Does it really matter? I think getting Fury Belts could be good as well. Let's start by going Ultra Ball. We can just get something out that we can maybe discard. I think I am going to go ahead and ping this to take the prize. I think that's probably worthwhile. Yeah, we'll just take our other Exeggcute, actually. That's perfect. Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to think where our damage is best placed. We're already knocking this out. with a Jet Pierce. We're knocking this out with a Sonic Volume if we were ever to do that. I guess we get the Lele closer to being knocked out, if anything, but I think this damage is probably going to be mostly irrelevant. I guess we could get this closer to like a linear attack knockout. That might be better. I don't think that this extra counter makes too big of a difference, but you know, there's always an optimal place to put that damage. And we did get a lightning off the prizes actually, which is pretty perfect. Okay, so we actually could go comp search away the lightning and the egg, get a battle compressor, thin the deck, or get a lightning energy attached to the active, and then still pop the Koko and get down another attacker. Yeah, I mean, if we just knock this out, we can just GX with this guy as well. So maybe we just try to set that up. Yeah, I think we just go ahead and try to set up the Naganadel Guzzlord. Try to get as set up as possible to try to close things out from this point. So we'll get rid of these two and just go get a battle compressor with this. We'll thin the deck. I guess we would maybe want to see if we can get a treasure first here. No. But Great Catcher is a good thing to have. So we have this option to knock this out next turn. Okay. So I think we just get rid of one lightning here since that's all we're going to be able to accelerate. Putting one on the Dedenne doesn't do too much for us. And what else is going to be not very good for us to draw? Probably the other compressor. Lele is definitely important. Potentially. And I don't know what else is useless. I think everything could be good still. Maybe just the other compressor gets discarded here. Yeah, we'll just do that. And then bench this. Just get as set up as possible, like I said. Attach the lightning to this guy. So we didn't end up getting the Fury Belt like I had initially kind of wanted, but we are skipping the Sledgehammer turn, so that's pretty good. And yeah, we could Violent Appetite to thin the Noivern. I actually kind of don't hate that in case we get end. Let's just do that. And we will go with the Calamitous Slash. Take the KO. And I think we're in a pretty solid spot here. They've only got 4 cards in hand. Next turn we can Great Catcher, knock this out, attach Double Dragon here, and try to set up a checkmate scenario where even if they knock this out, we just win by using Chaotic Order. And it looks like they are going to go ahead and scoop. You guys, man, this deck is so consistent. I love it. I love it. Hunter's definitely created something super unique. And it's going to be really interesting as we move into Collinsville Regionals, the next expanded regionals, what happens, because there's going to be a new set legal, but I don't really see anything coming out in Sword and Shield that would hurt this deck. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would really help it a bunch, but it's definitely a unique deck. I'm excited that Hunter did well with it, and it's something that I think we will see a lot of on the expanded ladder on the coming days. So definitely thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed. I hope that kind of gives you a good idea of how the deck functions. I'm going to try to get an interview with Hunter this week. Want to get his thoughts for sure about the tournament and, you know, get his opinions on this deck moving forward. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for the support. As always, all the kind words for people who were watching the stream about my commentary and things like that. It definitely means a lot to me. So much love, guys. Be sure to check this deck out, give it a try yourself, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Until next time, everyone, take care.